Yeah, it was like a repeat, wasn't it, from the last game? I think it's probably a combination of things. We're not executing what we need to. We've got pretty simple plans, and I think watching the way we bowl, we'll bowl in an area, get hit, and then very quickly change. So if you probably look at the way we bowl, and you probably couldn't distinguish a plan, and I think that's a disappointing thing. It's when we're being put on the back foot, we're sort of chasing our tail a little bit and finding ourselves in trouble. I thought at 100, and I think it was 111 for 4, like we were in the last game, we were right there, right in the game, and then we just dished up freebies. We gave Miller and Manahoa free hits, and once you give good players the chance to get in, then they just took the game away from us. And that's the disappointing thing from our point of view. We talk a lot about making batsmen work really hard for their runs, and I suppose when you look at our season, there's been one player in the lower order in particular who we've fed runs to and has played well to credit, but taken the game away from us. So we just have to be better in our decision making, better in our execution, because we knew, look, if we could keep Gujarat to 180, it was going to be challenging in the first 6 overs, but we thought we could chase it down, much like Wankhede the other day. But we can't keep asking our batting lineup to chase 210. You lose more than you win, and even though we're playing well, we're never going to chase it down. And then we got an exhibition of how to bowl on that wicket in the first 6 overs, and the game was effectively over. So, yeah, it was a tough day for us.
Disappointed at there being no plan B while chasing. You lost an early wicket, but there was no plan to resurrect the innings. So.
I think when you're chasing 208, the only plan is you've got to keep going, because, we tried to ride the storm a little bit because the ball was swinging around and moving around at good pace. And, you look at the way Hardik and Mohammad Shami bowled, they didn't give us any free balls to hit. We had to try to manufacture something. So the score at the end of the power play was probably a reflection of the way they bowled on a wicket, which they did the same to RR. In those first 6 overs, they found it really hard going as well. So we knew that the first 6 was going to be tough. And as I said, if we could keep the score to 180, if you could ride that 6 overs out, it got difficult for the bowling team because of the dew factor. But yeah, in the end, as I said, once the power play finished and we were on the score we were, it was probably more about trying to stop the damage to our run rate, which has taken another big hit tonight, which doesn't help us. I think, I just thought obviously the skill of the 2 opening bowlers, the ball was moving both ways at good pace, and they didn't give us anything to hit. And obviously, following on from our outstanding new ball spell, Rashid came on, bowled at the stumps, bowled a good pace, bowled back of a length, and just gave us nothing to hit. And that was the difference. They just executed things really well, very simply. And towards the back end of the innings, we started to get little flourishes of partnerships, but we were out of the game by then. So really, from our perspective, we probably got an exhibition of how to bowl. For those first 10 overs, the way Gujarat went out and went about their business, we haven't been able to put 10 overs together like that. Even though we've been good in our first 10, but our last 6, 7 in particular have been pretty poor in the last couple of games. I thought he did well today. Obviously, coming off an over, we went go for 30. It's never easy, especially then you step out onto a ground that's got it's a coliseum and there's a big crowd. So, he did a good job for us. Obviously, we'd like him to work on increasing his pace a little bit, but he did all he was asked to today. So, as I said, it's never easy on the back of a bad day, and a few of our bowlers have had bad days over the last couple of games, and that's the thing with T20. You've got to have thick skin and a short memory, because you have to come out and we're going back to our ground, which is a great batting ground against a very good team coming up, and we have to execute if we're going to find ourselves in the playoffs at the back end of the tournament. So we just have to be better at what we do. I think when you look at it, you look at that pitch and go, the ball didn't move around as much, and it was probably a touch slower when we started the game. So you understand that as a bowling team, it's the conditions are good to bowl with because you get a hard ball, but it's not going to do as much. What you're hoping for is if you can keep it to a reasonable score, the wicket quickens up, but with that quickness, the ball moves around. So you understand that the first 5 or 6 overs is going to be challenging. What you're hoping for, though, is that at the back half of the second innings, it gets tough to hold the ball for the bowling team, so then it's difficult to defend. So really why the teams have been successful here in chasing is that dew factor, that bowling teams managed to keep the score down to around 170, 180, and then it's really difficult to defend once the ball gets wet. But any time a team gets over 200, they win more games than not, and 208 was with the quality of the bowling attack we're up against as well, the defending champions for a reason was always going to be tough for us. I can't speak the cap, but you'd say probably yes. This probably was a factor. And again, if you're the captain, you bank in your experience, don't you, at the back end of an innings. You rely on those international players to come in and get the job done. I think that's what most captains do. They go to their senior players to get the job done. But unfortunately today they didn't get it done. So, look, as I said, Arjun did a really good job up front with those first two overs, but he just didn't get another opportunity. Look, I don't know whether he'll be available for the next match. In terms of changes or plans, haven't had any time to sort of digest that. But look, when you're losing, that's the natural thing that happens, is you consider your balance of your team. I think our batting order's done a really good job for the tournament, and it's pretty settled, and it's it's the strength of our team, there's no doubt about that. The combination of our bowling and who's bowling and how they're bowling is up for grabs, and that's fair enough because we just haven't bowled well enough. So, look, we've got a couple of days before the next game, a couple of practices to get stuck into, and I'm sure between the coach, captain, that those conversations around selection and who warrants a place in the team are going to happen, because it needs to.